What if I told you we didn't just avoid disaster, we paused it? Day 40 of this war wasn't the end. It wasn't even a breakthrough. It was something far more dangerous, a temporary silence before whatever comes next. Right now, what we're witnessing isn't peace. It's not resolution, it's apocalypse. Postponed. Both sides have agreed to a 2-week ceasefire, not because they trust each other, but because they need time to figure out what comes next. Behind the scenes, negotiations are happening through intermediaries. The United States has sent a 15-point list of red lines, not directly to Iran, but through Pakistan. And Iran, they've responded with their own 10-point set of demands, also through Pakistan. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Donald Trump looked at those Iranian demands and said they could be a workable basis for negotiation. Workable because when you actually examine Iran's list, it doesn't sound like compromise. It sounds like a non-starter. One of their key demands, that the United States shut down its military bases across the Middle East and withdraw its troops. Let's put that into perspective. There are roughly 40,000 American troops stationed in the region, and that's before an additional 8,000 reinforcements arrived during this crisis. These bases aren't temporary. Many have existed for decades. They're strategic, deeply embedded, and central to U.S. power projection. So the idea that the U.S. would just pack up and leave, that's not unlikely. It's not difficult. It's impossible. Which means one thing, this isn't a realistic demand. It's a positioning move. Then there's the issue that sits at the center of everything, Iran's nuclear program. Iran says it wants to maintain its civil nuclear capability. They insist it's for peaceful purposes, energy, development, nothing more. They've been saying that for over 20 years. But here's the problem. There's a deep and persistent belief, especially in Washington, that Iran hasn't been entirely truthful. And now, after last year's U.S. strikes on key nuclear sites, Fordow Fuel Enrichment Plant, Natanz Nuclear Facility, and Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, something far more concerning remains. Somewhere in the aftermath of those attacks, there are believed to be around 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium, enriched to roughly 60%. That's not weapons grade, but it's dangerously close. And here's the real issue. Nobody knows exactly where it is. It could be buried under rubble. It could be split and hidden across multiple locations. Or, most concerning of all, it may have been moved to a deeply buried underground facility near Natanz, sometimes referred to as Pickaxe Mountain, a place designed to be almost unreachable. So even if negotiations succeed, even if agreements are signed, the United States may never actually secure that material, which means the core question remains unanswered. What is Iran really capable of next? Then there's the most immediate pressure point in the world right now, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passage controls a massive portion of global oil shipping. If it closes, the global economy feels it instantly. Trump has said the strait is reopening. Iran says it will open soon, but reality tells a different story, because ships aren't moving freely, not yet. Instead of using the standard international route, they're being forced into a controlled pathway near Larak Island, and that changes everything. Why? Because in that corridor, Iran has total visibility, total control. They can inspect ships, delay them, turn them back, or if they choose, stop them completely. So yes, the strait may technically be open, but in practice, Iran still holds the lever. And while all of this is happening, while negotiations continue, while ceasefires are announced, one conflict hasn't paused at all: Israel's war in Lebanon. Iran has called for a complete halt to fighting. But Israel has made its position very clear. This ceasefire, it doesn't apply to them. In fact, their latest strikes in Lebanon have been among the most intense in weeks. So even as one front cools down, another continues to burn. And that brings us back to the bigger picture. Donald Trump is claiming success. He says diplomacy has worked, that progress has been made on all fronts. But if you step back, if you actually measure outcomes against objectives, the picture looks very different. None of the major goals have been clearly achieved. Some situations have arguably become even more unstable. The war hasn't ended. The nuclear question isn't resolved. The shipping lanes aren't fully secure. And one of the most volatile regions in the world is still on edge. So yes, call it a ceasefire, call it diplomacy, but don't call it peace. Because what we're really looking at is this, not the end of a crisis, but the quiet moment before the next one begins.